Okay, here we are, bridge update for August 6th here. I'm Jay Owens, City Engineer, here with Mark Anderson with MnDOT, Project Manager of the Bridge Project. No one in the audience yet, but maybe someone will show up here with some questions. If not, I'll have a few questions for you, Mark. So
sounds good.
All right, let's get started with kind of what we accomplished this past month here in July.
Okay, so I think the big thing that's going on is the contractor is working on getting the false work in place so they can start doing their deck pours. First pour will be in the center span, hopefully within a week or 10 days or so. They are currently, or they've done some retaining wall work. They've been working on doing some filling between the retaining walls in front of, or maybe on the back side of Red Wing Shoes there.
Okay.
For the slip ramp as it comes down.
So all that retaining wall work on the Minnesota side is starting to get where you can kind of see some road in place now, actually.
Yep, and they're out there actually putting curb and gutter out there right now around 3rd and Potter Street.
Okay.
Yep. I believe all the retaining walls are completed between the south abutment of the river bridge and then the north abutment of the Highway 61 bridge, and they're in there backfilling in between those walls right now.
Okay, so right along ADM there, right along the tanks, so good.
Yep.
All right. Also, some work is picked up on the Wisconsin side as well with the bypass work. You want to talk about that? What's going to happen? There's going to be a traffic switch and things like that coming up here?
Yeah, there's actually going to be 2 traffic switches. There's going to be one today, I think, where they're going to be sliding the traffic more to the west, kind of up against that barrier there. So they'll have the room to complete the bypass on that east side over the one half of the box culvert there.
Okay, the Mud Lake box culvert.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. So I think they're doing that switch next week. I believe they're coming in to pave early next week, and then they'll do the switch after that.
Okay. And with that paving, there's a paving plan for next week on the Wisconsin side. Is there going to be some paving on the Minnesota side then?
From their schedule, they mentioned Bluff Street. I think that's the only thing they mentioned on the Minnesota side. I didn't see anything about 3rd Street. But
nothing on 3rd Street, and possibly paving in the parking lot of Red Wing Shoe parking lot.
They do have the curb and gutter done in there as well now.
So speaking of 3rd Street, along there we do have, it looks like the curb and gutter and the planter area got poured along the Marie's parking lot. Mm-hmm. So we're really kind of in a good spot to let Marie's and Red Wing Shoe kind of do all of their interior parking lot work.
Right.
Kind of our edge is kind of all complete now along there, along with poles, light poles are put in, and things look pretty good along the 3rd Street stretch there. So how about any go into that pouring a little bit. What's the process to get to where they're making those main deck pours? I know looking at the schedule, there's forming, shear studs, rebar, kind of,
And that's kind of the process. They do put their false work in place.
Underneath.
It'll support the concrete deck while it's curing.
Okay.
Yep. And then on top of the flanges of the beams, they put the shear studs, which those go up into the concrete, so the deck and the beams are connected together basically.
Okay.
And after those shear studs are then the contractor puts the rebar in place, and then they should be doing their deck pour after that. And there's a series of 5 pours, and they're actually, I think the first scheduled pour is right in the center of span 2.
So basically right over the river, right over the main channel kind of is their first pour.
Yep.
Okay. And then they sequence their pours, and we talked about a little bit, and that's because of loading, to load the beams properly, the tub girders properly.
Right, so you don't get uplift at the bracket. And there's actually a counterweight that's poured at the south abutment to hold that down while they're doing their deck pours.
And that counterweight that's poured is just a sacrificial, that's temporary.
Right. Yep.
And then it's just taken out and disposed of then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I know I've had different questions on kind of bridge opening and things like that. Schedule-wise, I know we get the 3-week schedule every week, but look-ahead schedules, I imagine you guys have been in conversation with the contractor to kind of look at, okay, when are we on schedule to open up even in October or late October is kind of the plan?
Currently, their schedule shows, I believe, a late October opening.
Okay.
There's a lot of work to get done between now and then with the decks, and then they're going to have to get the railings in place things like that, so.
Do you, in your conversations, has the contractor proposed any longer work shifts, or is there things going to happen to try to get to that schedule point, or you haven't heard that yet?
Well, one of the things they've been doing is they've been working Saturdays on the false work, on the decking, so
Okay,
that should get them hopefully a little bit ahead.
okay,
And it seems like they should have a deck poured. They should have all the deck poured within a month from when they start. That's their plan right now, so.
and that would even include all the deck pours on the Wisconsin side along the concrete beams as well, or is that all done?
That's all done on the
It is all
Wisconsin
done
side.
on the
Yep, they have the
Wisconsin side.
four spans over there.
So that was
complete.
something that was completed this past month as well?
Yes, yep,
in
that
July.
was the last two spans over there were
Yeah, and
completed.
That tells you how much I've been kind of getting over on that side. I have been busy on this side, but I haven't been on the Wisconsin side too much lately, so.
So,
Yeah.
yep, but then they've got a lot of fill to get off. The surcharge needs to be taken off, and all that grade needs to be
Okay.
brought up and paved and everything before they could actually open the bridge, so.
Okay,
A lot of work over there.
yeah, a lot of work. All right, well, I'll think of some maybe questions. In the meantime, you have some pictures of some of the work that's happened here?
Yep, I do.
Give us a peek at that.
So actually, the first picture here is of the deck pour, those spans 4 and 5. That was completed, I think, around July 11th.
So that would be the pour on the Wisconsin, like I said, over the concrete beams,
Right.
correct? Yep.
Correct, yep. And just another picture of the same thing, as you can see how the pump places the concrete, and then the finishing machine comes and completes the process.
Will there be a similar finishing machine, or will it be the same one that's
It will be
used
the
on
same one.
on the tub girders as well? Okay. So they must have some type of a rail system that they have to have in place to,
Right, you can kind of see it on the far right of the picture. You can see the rail as it's sitting on the
okay.
on the deck forms. Another picture from behind is you can see after the contractor finishes it, then they place a curing compound over it to help it retain its moisture and maintain its durability.
Okay.
That's contractors. They're working on 3rd Street, or on the slip ramp as it comes into 3rd Street there.
Yeah,
doing
standing about at the Potter Street intersection with that picture, right?
Right, yep.
Kind of
Some
see the
curb
road
gutters in
coming down.
place, and they're starting to set the catch basins for their pours around the catch basins. You can see they've completed another panel on the retaining wall that is between the Highway 61 bridge and the bridge over Bluff Street. So this would be on the back side of the Red Wing Shoes parking lot.
Okay, yeah, just to the left of this, of course, is the Red Wing Shoe, and then you can see Barn Bluff on the right
Yep,
there,
the
so.
ADM kind of in the foreground,
Yep.
or the back, whatever.
It's surprising, I knew the plan showed a lot of retaining walls, but that's a big part of this project is building retaining walls. That's a lot of concrete in the walls themselves, so.
And here's what they're working on today, right now. It's not much of a picture, but they're out there getting ready to switch traffic. They're putting some temporary tape down for the lanes as they're being shifted to the west.
Okay,
This is from up on top of the surcharge. You can see off to the right of traffic, that's where the new bypass will be once they get it graded and paved. So kind of
and then,
over in here.
you're up on the surcharge, and that surcharge is gonna remain for a while, correct? Where you
Yeah.
took that picture from, kind of see the black, the fabric there,
Right,
and
with the sandbags holding it.
the sandbags holding
Yep.
that down.
The 1-year date will be September 11th, I believe, so,
Okay.
and that's,
And in the monitoring has, you've been checking the monitoring on those settlement plates on that there?
Yeah, and
It
there's-
looks like it's going to be ready to come off in 1 year, or is it going to
there's
need
still
more?
some movement going on, so we're gonna have to see where we're at.
See where you're at that point. But it's got to help that the river levels and things have dropped, so we got groundwater dropping
Right, that
with that.
should help, right.
That would help, okay.
And here's a picture just looking up the deck from the Wisconsin abutment. In the middle is the railing that's going to separate traffic from the bike or the pedestrian path. there.
Okay. And then yeah, that's the concrete portion of the railing, and then there'll be a tube rail that'll be mounted on the top of that as a barrier between pedestrians and vehicles.
Right, and then off on the right, you can see there's a little curb there, but there'll be I believe, an ornamental railing there.
Yep, that'll be the black ornamental railing all the way across, and that ties in right on down past Red Wing Shoe as well, so right to Potter Street.
There's another picture just kind of looking back at some of the areas that have not been poured yet. There's the rebar for that, the traffic rail, and then off on the left is some forms for the curb for the pedestrian path.
Okay.
And there's one of the work bridges the contractor uses when they're doing their deck pours. There are actually two of them.
So work bridges for workers to...
They cross over and they can finish the concrete and spray the curing compound and that on it.
Okay.
There's a picture at some of the decking that's going on. The center is the area over the tub girders, I'm sorry, that's in between the tub girders. And then the other area, you can see where all the white, that's the inside of the tub girders.
That's the inside
now
of the
decking is actually going on out in the middle of the river span right now.
So the formwork that they put in between the tub girders, some of that stay? Is there like that all will be?
All that formwork will have to come out.
That all comes out. So what's exposed from below, you'd actually see the bottom side of that concrete then.
Right. Yep.
And then that's where inspectors can check to see if there's any cracking or as they inspect the bridge into the future.
Yep. They'll have to use a snooper to get in between the tub girders, but they'll walk through the actual tub girders to see what's going on.
Okay.
See the conditions. And just another picture I just moved over a little bit. So you can see the side over by the ADM side.
And the shear studs that get welded on there onto the tub girders, how tall are they? They go...
It varies depending on the height of the...
Of the pour there?
Right.
Okay.
So they're anywhere from, I believe, 7 to 9 inches tall. Yep.
And those are all individually welded, as we discussed last.
Right, yep. The contractors go out and grind the primer off of the flange, and then they weld the shear stud on. And it's called a Nelson stud because it actually fits right in this gun, and it's got a ceramic holder, and that they just hit it with the welder, and it welds it, and then they crack off that ceramic holder.
And that looks like that, according to the schedule, they have a different a subcontractor that comes and does all the welding of the studs. I hadn't seen that name on the schedule before, but now.
Yep, that's someone different that's doing
completely different. Yeah.
The stud welding.
Okay. I'll put you on the spot here a little bit, Mark. Well, if I know we have some paving coming, it's good to see some paving done. We're talking maybe Bluff Street, the Red Wing Shoe parking lot, and the bypass paving. But I imagine we're going to probably see final paving coming down the slip ramp and onto 3rd Street and kind of finish the final lift across 3rd Street here. Would you say maybe toward the end of this month or into September, maybe first part of September?
I would hope so, right? It's not, we haven't seen on the contractor's schedule yet, but I would think they'd be getting that done shortly here.
Yeah, because the 3-week, like I said, it doesn't show up quite yet, but I would think that's, I mean, we're starting to get curb and gutter in today along the slip ramp, and you sure don't want to leave a lot of areas with curb and gutter exposed where you could get washing and things like that. So
or get the curb damaged.
Yep, get the curb damaged. So other than that, do you have anything else to add?
Just people should be aware that, like I said, with the traffic switches going on, things are going to be changing on that Wisconsin side. So everyone needs to pay attention. I know they're flagging out there right now for the current work that's going on. So just pay attention to the flaggers and, look for traffic changes ahead.
Okay. Yeah, with that, I guess we'll run again. We'll go in September. What was the date of that? I had pulled it up earlier. So we'll be on again on September 3rd for another update and see where we're at with probably more. We'll have more road built and actually start seeing something here on the Minnesota side. And maybe around that date, have another tour maybe toward the end of August.
Yep, we should have one towards the end of August.
So again, that'll be a chamber tour. We don't have the date set yet, but watch for that and sign up down at the chamber, and we'll get you out and take a look at what's been done. So thanks for tuning in.